Everyone. So while I am while I am working on getting the stories written and posted, I thought this would be a fun thing to sort of do for the channel. I wanted to share some of my Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links replays. These are replays I have actually just had in the last couple days with a deck that is honestly surprisingly effective. Now, I want to say, I do think this deck is good at a rogue level, but I'm not going to be like dkayed and say it's broken because I want it to be broken. It's absolutely not a top tier deck. It has its drawbacks. I mean, the deck struggles against Super Heavy Samurai. So I want to make that clear. I'm not going to claim the deck is OP or anything, but it's definitely good at a rogue level, and it's very cheap to build. I am referring to Battle Wasp. There are people out there who are going to say Battle Wasp sucks. But before you pass judgment on the deck, let me show you what mine's been able to do. One last thing. I do want to say, yes, I am in Silver League. I don't play ranked that much. Okay? So, I understand that my opponents aren't the best duelists in the world, but, like, the deck has gone almost undefeated. I didn't share the replay here. I didn't save the replay here because it just wasn't an exciting duel. One of the only duels this deck has lost is to a guy who top decked MST, Mystical Space Typhoon, when I bricked and I had one trap to rely on. With that said, let's get started. This is a combo build of the deck. Yeah, I'd rather not share where I live, but you're not going to be able to tell much by just the country. So this hand may not look like much, but it's actually crazy. Let's speed things up here. So that right there, that's something I want to go over real quick. A lot of people don't get this about Battle Wasp Nest. This card is actually kind of absurd. Not only does it make it super easy to loop Sting the Poison, but it also completely ends the battle phase and can be flipped at attack declaration and still resolve. Once the effect activates, you either negate it or you lose your battle phase. So it's actually a really good way to slow the opponent down going first. And when you pair that with Sting's negate, it's actually able to do a lot going first. A lot of people don't realize how effective this can be, and I get it. On paper, it's really bad. So that was the first time I actually ever used this deck. Something I do want to say before we continue, though, is in the next couple matches somewhere, I do start using the skill Parasite Infestation. I want to say real quickly, I don't run it for the burn. Okay, I don't. I run it as a way to disrupt the opponent. I run it for the floodgate. And also because there just aren't a lot of great skills for Battle Wasp. That's really why I run it. I could run the Ties That Bind to help in the matchup against Super Heavy Samurai, but it just wouldn't do that much against the deck. So this guy, I can't remember what he was playing. I think he was playing a weird synchro control deck. Let's speed it up again. I actually can't remember. One of these guys was playing Neos. That could be this guy. Yeah, he's playing Neos. Okay. I faced a few Neos decks with this, and Neos really just doesn't have much of a chance against this deck when they open Nest. I do want to go over one thing here. That spell I just used, Revival Swarm. The first effect is not once per turn. If you draw multiple copies of this card, you essentially get multiple Monster Reborn. And then once per turn, it can turn one of your monsters into a towers, which is pretty good. Which, for those who don't know what a towers is, think the Invoked era of Duel Links. Invoked Cocytus. One of the big advantages that Battle Wasp has is the versatility in their win condition, their main win condition, Hama the Conquering Bow. Basically, Hama can either burn for 300 points for every Battle Wasp in your graveyard, and then plus Azusa, she will burn for 1400 because the burn is cut in half in Duel Links. So that can get you up to, let's say you have 4 Battle Wasps in your graveyard. Okay? Between the two of them, that's 2600 points of burn. Now, the restriction to this is that you can't inflict battle damage that turn. So, the reason this matters... Alright, this is the stall player. He realized that I was putting him on a clock like that, and then he surrendered. So, Hama has a burn capability, but I don't want you to think that Battle Wasps are a burn deck. They aren't exactly a burn deck. They can be played that way, but Wasps are more of an OTK deck with a burn option. If your opponent is just... Lost my train of thought. Never mind, I lost my train of thought there. But, one of the big advantages to Battle Wasp is that Hama can either be a burn machine and put your opponent on a 2-turn clock, or he can be a twin cyber dragon if you use him as another synchro monster as material for him, which you're always going to use a synchro monster as material for him. You'll be able to attack twice, so that's 2,800 attack points hitting your opponent twice, and if it inflicts battle damage, every time it does, it can lower the opponent's monster's attack by 1,000. So it's really good at beating over stuff. But Halberd the Charge can also come in clutch, which Halberd the Charge is basically a 5k beat stick and that's it. But it can still come in handy. I'm trying to keep the screen centered here. So yeah, another really weird deck there. This is the match I really want to show you. So this duel is against by far the hardest matchup to play through with Battle Wasp. My opponent could have actually done some damage to me too if they had used Stealth Ninja's effect. Nest would not have been able to activate. But nobody knows what Battle Wasps do, so can't expect him to think of that. He thought he was just going to do a ton of damage. So what makes Super Heavy Samurai so hard for Wasps to out? Well, they don't really have any removal, and their boss monster, Stealth Ninja, has 2,800 defense, which matches the attack of Hama, which means you have to make a particular card I play for this specific matchup, Ballista the Armageddon. Which, it's because I run Ballista I was able to win this duel. Yes, I could have just used Greatfly, but Greatfly wouldn't have done so much damage to their life points so that I could threaten to burn them for game. Which is why I went into Ballista the Armageddon instead of just going into a card able to beat over Stealth Ninja but not Big Ben K, which could still attack me. Now he starts to wall up, only to realize I can burn him every turn. So that's just sort of what I wanted to show you. I don't think Wasps are necessarily a burn deck. They can be played that way, but their lack of ways to stop the opponent from taking them out, like, they can be hard to kill, but at the cost of their burn cards. So I think of Wasps as more of an OTK deck that has a burn option against decks where it comes up. That's how I think of it. You're not going to one-turn kill an opponent with the burn. You physically can't FTK either. It's already very difficult to get enough Wasps in the graveyard in one turn to OTK. But you physically can't get the burn off without the battle phase. So that's all I wanted to show you. I thought this was sort of a good original content type of thing I could do in the meantime while I'm working on the stories for the channel. Because this is my own deck. I built this deck myself. I figured out how to play Battle Wasps effectively. Would I call it a pet deck? Not really. I just really like insect decks, but I wouldn't say it's a pet deck. I would more say it's a deck I'm passionate about, and I figured out a way to make it work.